Donald Trump participated in a multi-party conspiracy to rig the legitimate outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Donald Trump participated in a multi-party conspiracy to rig the legitimate outcome of the 2020 presidential election. On January 6, 2021, tens of thousands of Donald Trump backers stormed the Capitol, hurling abuse at security personnel and politicians. U.S. politicians claimed that Donald Trump was involved in a multi-part conspiracy to tamper with the legitimate outcomes of the 2020 presidential election. The January 6 Committee of the House of Representatives has released its final report, which was based on interviews with more than 1,000 witnesses, 10 sessions, and millions of pages of records. The 8 Democrats and 2 Republicans produced a report on their 18-month inquiry of the uprising at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, totaling more than 814 pages. The evidence has led to an overriding and obvious conclusion. The major cause of January 6 was one individual, former President Donald Trump, whom many others followed, they wrote in their conclusion. Without him, none of the January 6 events would have occurred. The report went into detail about Mr. Trump's behavior in the weeks before the uprising and how his effort to reverse his electoral loss affected individuals who were participating. According to the report, Mr. Trump or members of his inner circle engaged in at least 200 apparent acts of public or private outreach, pressure, or condemnation, targeting either state legislators, or state or local election administrators, to overturn state election results between Joe Biden's victory and the certification of that victory on the day of the uprising. The report stated, despite his own senior advisors disputing his election fraud accusations and pleading with him to recognize his election loss, Donald Trump refused to accept the lawful result of the 2020 election, knowing that he and his supporters had lost dozens of election lawsuits. President Trump conspired to reverse the election result rather than upholding his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, according to the statement. The committee claimed that Mr. Trump had exerted pressure on lawmakers, state and federal authorities, and even his vice president, Mike Pence, to achieve his goals. They claimed that his allegations of voter fraud had been widely disseminated on social media, adding to the mistrust of the government he had helped to sow throughout his 4 years in office. And when his followers forcefully intervened on their own, he did little to stop them. According to the report, 187 minutes passed from the time Mr. Trump finished his address pushing his fans to march on the Capitol and made his first attempt to calm the rioters, saying, "We love you, you're very unique." Many of his employees begged him to say something more forceful, but he declined. The study included a list of intelligence and law enforcement failures, but said that these were unrelated to the uprising. In a prologue to the report, the committee's chairman, Benny Thompson, stated, "Our intelligence and law enforcement communities did not anticipate a situation in which the President of the United States incited a crowd to march on the Capitol and obstruct the work of Congress." The report urges Congress to establish a system for considering whether to exclude those named in the report from holding future federal or state offices. The panel also forwarded its inquiry to the Justice Department with the recommendation that the agency look into the former president for 4 felonies, including supporting an insurrection. However, these referrals lack any legal weight. The study was dubbed a witch hunt and very biased by Mr. Trump. The highly partisan Unselect Committee report purposely fails to mention the failure of Pelosi to heed my recommendation for troops to be used in D.C., show the peacefully and patriotically words I used, or study the reason for the protest, election fraud, he claimed in a post on his Truth Social platform. Seek the witch.